So my clinical was at South Middle School in Aurora. The community surrounding South Middle School is adequate for essentials. The school has a large field in back for sports, and it kind of shares it with a elementary school. And there's a park a couple blocks behind the school, as well as one right in front of the school that includes an aquatic center, a playground, and center for active adults. There are many churches around the school that seem to be in good condition. There are many different religions that these churches support. For example, there's a Presbyterian, a Lutheran, a Christian, a Baptist, an Episcopal, and Ethiopian church, all embedded in this community surrounding South Middle School. I believe that the many churches, parks, and the fact that many of these homes are family homes seem to be the best asset of this community. The neighborhoods around the school are mainly older houses built of brick. I have seen a couple houses in this community that have solar panels, so that's pretty cool. Many of them have a small to medium-sized front yard and a backyard, as far as I could tell. And a lot of them have a chain link fence surrounding their front yard as well. The cars in the driveway seem to be on the newer side and in good condition, and I was a little shocked at this because just looking around, I would expect some older cars or maybe some that have been like wasting away or being worked on in the driveway, because I've seen that a lot in Colorado. Like I said earlier, most of these homes seem to be family homes because many of them have more than one car parked in front, and I've seen a lot of the children from the school walking into these homes and in throughout the neighborhood. There's no political or like house for sale sign in front of these houses, and as far as I can tell, I haven't seen any broken windows, houses that are wasting away, or any signs of distress. I've seen a lot of adults outside doing yard work and fixing up parts of the house, which is pretty cool. So I believe most of these houses are inhabited by families. I see a lot of Caucasian families, African American, and Latino families all throughout the neighborhood. Driving around the streets, I haven't noted any signs of alcoholism or drug use, but that's not to say there isn't any. It's just not out and obvious during the daytime. The neighborhoods are separated by streets. Both houses on the street seem to be in the same condition. One half of the neighborhood, I guess there's a couple like groups of houses. One of them does have a name, and it's Lynn Knoll. And behind the school is a walking trail that runs alongside the Highline Canal. As far as people living in this neighborhood, it seems that most of them drive to and from home, as most of the houses have cars in front of them, and usually more than one. Some of the children that go to South Middle School or any of the elementary schools in this neighborhood are usually driven to and from by a guardian or the school bus, or they walk. Behind the school, there's a condo or apartment complexes, I'm not sure. They do look like they have a small backyard. And those buildings look to be newer, but I couldn't see a sign for what they would be called. A few blocks, probably like a 15-minute walk north of the middle school, is a shopping center with a King Soopers located in it, so there is access to food, and more importantly, there's access to fresh food that's not processed. There's also a few restaurants located inside the shopping center, as well as a movie theater. Talking with the teacher, we only had her for the first couple of days, but she did give us some information. I think the biggest challenge in this community is the representation of two different gangs. She said that there hasn't been any terrible issues, but that it does not help the community. She stated that some of the gang members usually meet up in the big park located north of the school, where there's the playground with the aquatic center, and that there has been some incidences with many police officers involved, but that's always during the nighttime, not the daytime. And the school nurse we talked to said that some of the children at school wear the gang colors, but she's unsure if they're actually in the gang or if it's like a pseudo representation of the gang. I think the environment of this community doesn't necessarily help the health of individuals, but that it also doesn't really take away from it either. Is there is access to a lot of healthy things, like there's access to these parks and playgrounds where kids can go run around and play with other kids in the neighborhood. And there's access to a grocery store that supplies fruits and veggies. I think that something that would be beneficial to this community would be if there was a farmer's market, maybe at one of these parks during the weekends or something, so people could have more access to fresh fruits and veggies that are usually in season, so it helps the environment. And potentially a place that some of these families, if they make home goods, that they could sell them. So I think it's a pretty decent community surrounding South Middle School, and it seems safe, especially during the daytime, maybe not so much the nighttime. But yeah, I think it's still a pretty good neighborhood.